Welcome back to another 7 Deadly Sins origin video. Today we have a full co-op guide if you're someone that plays with just one other person. We're going to be talking about the raid and just all the things to think about and some team building guides. I've beaten this boss multiple times now in co-op. I think it's probably the best balance mode as far as solo's the easiest, but duos doesn't get outrageous. You can still do this with a friend. It is super fun because obviously you have someone with you. There are some really cool team designs you can do. Like I said, I've tried a bunch of different things. I've probably beat this 30 times in co-op. I'm going to show you the very first team I beat it with, which is my quote-unquote best team, and then I'm going to show you some variations. I'm going to show you everything in between. I'm going to show you gear. I'm going to show you weapons and just thought process behind all the little small details to where if you're close or you're struggling, this might be able to push you just over the edge. If you enjoy the content, I'm like 10 subscribers away from 900. Do me a favor, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. Let's get into it. So right off the bat, this is the team that I use to beat it. I'm going to represent Team 4 is mine and Team 5 is his. This is the first time we beat it together. This is the team I was using. I know a lot of you are not going to have Daisy or Clotho. It seems like a lot more people now have Daisy, but a lot of you are not going to have Clotho, so I've got a ton of alternatives. We've beat this like 30 times. We've tried a ton of different teams. I'm going to show you just multiple different options. I want to give you as much information as I can to make this easier for you. There's some really important things, just these small details that when you figure some of this stuff out. My Merlin's P7 now for the record. She was P5 and my teammates was P4. With Merlin, you'll see in the gameplay, I'm going to teach you, it's all about the gameplay loop with Merlin. When you learn how to play her, P4, P5, you can win with Merlin. You just have to know how to do the tag stuff. Now, my Merlin is built in a way where at one point I was using the entire arcane set, and I just did not feel like I was doing a ton of damage. So I wound up just going with the three crit chance set, and then the life crystal for the 100 pierce. I really like having this so you're not getting blocked as often because it feels horrible when you get blocked. I use the Bloody Skill Pelt because it's tag skill damage and tag skill damage. And then using the tag skill inflicts 120% of attack in 3 times to a random location. And then I use Gallon's Armor because it's crit chance, and then using the tag skill increases crit chance and also increases crit damage. So this is what I've used on Merlin to what to me feels the most effective. And this is just kind of like multiple tests with her. This is what to me eventually made me start feeling like I'm doing different are doing some more damage, but I would highly recommend getting Gallon's outfit on her if you can, just because of all the boost that you're getting from that. And again, even this is really good. If you do have a couple of these lying around, I think they're very effective on Merlin. With supports, it's really simple. I run one this way and then one a different way, but this is all about HP. When you're playing duos, you want to live. If one of you die at the main boss, it is over no matter what, unless the boss maybe has like a sliver of health left. So with my support characters, I am just simply giving them HP. And I like to have one of my sets have this set because it gives 10 HP and it grants all allied heroes barriers. This is very, very powerful and will keep you alive, especially if you are using Clotho as a healer. Like I said, a lot of you might not have Clotho. We'll show you some alternatives. But either way, this is very effective. This will keep you alive at times when you're going to die, basically. So this is how I do it. That way I get 30% HP. And then also you do get some tag restore with this, which is really good for Merlin. I threw on the Twisted Bottom, not because you're going to be doing plunge damage, just because it has a lot of equipment HP. Now for Manny, which a lot of you probably will have if you had, the SSR selectors and stuff, I throw the Hymn of Regeneration on because this also will give you health, but it gives you magic charging efficiency. You will see here, this is the 20% HP again, so that you obviously, like I said, just have more health. But when you look at this Hymn of Regeneration, there's something I want to pivot to, and it's talking about weapons. This is what a lot of people might not be thinking about. So with the Hymn of Regeneration with Manny, when all allied heroes, when you attack basically an enemy with 100% HP remaining, it increases all allied heroes charging mana efficiency by 15% for 20 seconds and restores the magic gauge by a fixed amount of 2,000. So if you have something like this on, you need to be hitting the enemy first, and you do not want to clash weapons like that. So with Manny, you can see here, I have a weapon that does the same exact thing. Attacking an enemy whose remaining HP is 100% or higher increases their damage taken by 35% for 20 seconds. This way, I am going to always attack the enemy first because I will get both of those benefits, right? So just pay attention to little stuff like that. If you both are using the same exact weapon, you're not going to get that benefit if you have first strike on. You could literally switch to anything else. Like with Manny, it's not a good example because we're not really trying to do damage. You're not going to switch to like crit damage, right? But if it was someone you're doing damage with, obviously activating a burst would be a lot better on someone who's damaging because you could switch over and activate the burst versus, like I said, combating first strike on first strike. You're not going to get much of a benefit there because as soon as you hit them, they're not going to be at 100% health, obviously. So when I hit, they're no longer at 100% health. Therefore, my teammate will not get that boost. So just kind of keep an eye out for stuff like that. You don't want to over conflict on that. That's going to be the same concept with team building. You don't want to just stack up on the same exact characters because, for example, Manny, when you use her ability, the whole time I'm the only one that has Manny in this showcase because If you both throw this blessing down, you're not getting the benefit twice. You're just getting the benefit once. And this recools so fast that you can basically always keep it down, and you can both get this benefit by just one of you having the character. You don't need to overlap on certain characters because you're not getting any extra benefit. My healer, super simple. For my healers, I basically just pull this armor onto all of them because you're going to get HP, and then you're going to get healing efficiency 20%. With Merlin, this is also good because you can restore your tag gauge 2 different ways. So this is very beneficial. You may not all have a full life crystal set because you do have to craft some of this, and it's really annoying. If you don't, you can obviously switch up some of this. Like there's the 100-day earrings. Not earrings, but there's a 100-day set, and if you have 3 of them, it'll do healing efficiency plus 15%. But I would definitely recommend, whenever you can get in here, craft this up, and just, at least one full set, because you can pull this to all your healers. You don't have to have, 3 different sets. You can literally just get, once you get decent rolls, like I don't even care. Like this is 106 and I just don't care. I'm not going to waste the time to make this again because it is really annoying and it's a bunch of random stuff you have to farm. But once you have one set, you can obviously just pull this to all your healers whenever, you're switching to someone else. And I'll show you when we're doing some alternatives because a lot of them are healing based off HP anyway. With Clotho, you do want the 100-day weapon because this increases healing received by 12% while damage taken is reduced. I've never leveled this up, but you could. But you're basically always going to have that because decreases damage taken by 3% for every 1 runestone or rune ward. I'm going to show you another few ways you can combo this to get this off as well, because there's some characters that will give you this naturally so that you can just throw this on your healer randomly. Super cool. Let me show you what my teammates' team was at the time, and then I'll give you variations of all this because, like I said, I know a lot of you are not going to have Daisy and Clotho. So he was not doing the combo ult. He was just bursting with Jericho, switching with Merlin, and doing, like I said, the main tag skill. He had Hauser to help us debuff and get more crit damage. Or crit defense, sorry. Because that's what his armor does. And then he was healing with Tiore. I think in the gameplay, he may have been using Clotho. Like I said, we've used so many different teams. That's why I'm confident telling you some, different teams. But obviously, Tiore is very powerful because she's AoE. So if you're really struggling, you could both use Tiore, and that's what I was going to show you here with her as well. You could both use Tiore, and you all probably know about Tiore. There's no really point in me explaining this to you, but she is AoE healing, so you could both throw it down at multiple different times, but she is also scaling off of your max HP. So if you do have that set, like I said, that I showed you on Clotho, wherever she went, your HP will be boosted, and your healing efficiency will be boosted. So you're getting, that much more benefit with Tiore now, as well as one character that we started using a lot. So like I said, this was his team. He was debuffing. But one character we started using a lot, which was super fun, and it's one of our favorite characters in general, is Elaine. Especially, he was using it to support because of how her support actually works. With Elaine, and this is super cool, and like I said, it's super fun, she allows you basically tag skill damage by 50% when an ally has a barrier. She will create the barrier for you, grants all allied barrier equal to 130% of defense for 20 seconds. Allies' damage taken decreases by 10% while the barrier activated. She gives you a barrier and she gives your teammate a barrier. Your actual teammate, like a lot of these characters will only give it to your characters. She actually gives it to your teammate, right? The person that you're playing co-op with. The reason this is so valuable is obviously there's a lot of different reasons, like someone like Sword and Shield Escanor, but like I said earlier, when we were talking about weapons, she is now allowing you to always proc this with your healer. So someone would like Tiore, like I just showed you, right? Tiore, you could have this book on her, just like I have it on Clotho, and the entire set would now be, you would be getting this on Tiore, even though you're not getting, Clotho does it because naturally her passive, but now Clotho's, able to get it because of Elaine. So Elaine is super fun, and her Saintress mark will also help the team too, because it applies to your allies, which does include your teammate, and it applies to the enemy. Restores tag gauge by 50 every 1 second. Merlin, you're tagging in all the time. That obviously helps a lot. The decreaser's burst isn't going to help. I'm not going to lie to you. But again, you're restoring tag gauge, and then she's giving you and your ally a barrier, which is really cool. You take the decreased damage, and this barrier, like I said, it'll just help you live more. It's the same concept of the barrier I showed you earlier on Daisy. I don't know why it moves characters so far away when they're not in your lineup. But yeah, it's the same concept as this barrier, right? So we actually started using Elaine a lot just for that, because it's super fun to just throw on some random characters. So someone like Elaine is really good. Like I said, Tiore is a really good healer. Jericho, obviously you can use her if you want to burst, but I was combo ulting the entire time with Daisy. I'll give you one more lineup that we really enjoyed using as well. It was Hauser. So he had Hauser, and I had, instead of Daisy, I had Slater. And I don't have any armor on him, so he's looking horrible, but with his axe, you can charge it and crit resistance by 20%, and then you're both basically debuffing together because that's what he does. But then him with his armor hauser, you are going to lower their critical defense. So you're lowering their critical resistance and their critical defense. So that's what you want to do. You can come in here and do some of these tests out yourself, but you want to come up with these combinations that are actually working together. If you both bring a hauser, you're not getting a benefit. That's what I want to stress. You're not able to apply that same mark. You're just resetting your teammate's mark, right? If you both bring a Manny, you can get a benefit if your teammate's not keeping it up the whole time, but as long as you're keeping it up the whole time, having 2 Mannies isn't going to give you a benefit because you're not getting anything extra. It's not 2 times because you're standing in 2 circles, right? You're basically just wasting character. So watch overlaps unless they're like solo characters like Merlin who's doing damage, Clotho who's healing you, on its own. But if you're really close to beating this, in my opinion, and I just have to switch this back to Daisy because this is just killing me mentally. But if you're really close to beating this and you're not able to beat it at the moment, you might want to really focus on like doing 2 AoE healers, right? Like both of you maxing out your Tiore, because then you're able to actually help each other. And that's kind of the whole concept of how you want to go about winning, helping each other. Check your weapons, make sure your weapons aren't overlapping like I showed you, right? You don't want your weapons to be overlapping and you're not getting a benefit of first strike. Just make sure that you're really customizing your kits. You want to get in here and make these armor sets that are giving you HP for your support characters. The more HP you have, survivability is what will allow you to win this. If you're losing to the timer, obviously you just got to increase your power a little bit and learn the Merlin rotation a little bit better. But generally speaking, the more HP you have, the better off you're going to be doing. Let's look at the combat loop. Let me show you exactly what I'm talking about with Merlin. Then I'll let this play out for you. We'll just play some music to it. And like I said, it's what changed the raid for us. We were not able to beat it because at the time, like I said, it was P4 Merlin, P5 Merlin. We learned the rotation. We learned how to play. We were able to win. Now I'm just going to show you the final boss here because this technique will apply to all the bosses. It doesn't matter. This is the combat loop that you're trying to get going. And there are so many good guides out here of actually how to get to this point, and it's been out for 3 or 4 days now. I'm sure you all know how to get to this point. But you're going to see the entire time I'm going to be doing the same exact combination of things. This is what allowed us to win it. It makes such a difference in Merlin's damage is once you actually realize how to properly use her tag skill. And that's what I want to stress, because at this time, like I said, if you skip straight to this gameplay, you didn't hear me talking earlier for like the team builds. This is a P5 Merlin that I have and a P4 Merlin that my teammate has. You see that I've started the combo. You do the combo ult, you hit her ability, you switch. And so now when you switch back, you have the 4 stacks with Merlin. I did make an entire video that will break it down in like actual physical slow motion for you. Like I went in slow motion and showed you how to do it. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, hopefully by now you do, but you can see I'm just instantly resetting the loop here and I mess it up here. But again, it's all about just getting that loop to where you hit Merlin's ability. Once you start the stacks with the basic attack, you hit Merlin's ability, her laser beams. You get the 4 stacks with Merlin, then you ult with her or combo ult, depending. If you have Jericho and you've already bursted her, you just hit the ult regularly. If you obviously are using Daisy to combo ult, you combo ult for the burst. Then you hit Merlin's other ability. It's called something seeds, but it's the other one that's not the laser. And that will build the stacks while you switch off of Merlin. So that's what you're seeing right here. You're seeing me do this the whole time. You see me switch here. The stacks are building back up. I'm doing Clotho's ult because it will do more damage. And then you switch in to do the damage with Merlin. I actually think there I may have missed it. I couldn't quite tell because and this is another whole issue with this. I'm going to try not to rant, but this game mode, or not this game mode, but yeah, this raid is just, it gets annoying, but when you see under his health the amount of debuffs we're doing, and this is the benefit of having co-op partners. Like I said, he's applying Hauser's, he's applying Hauser's debuff, I'm applying Daisy's debuff. We're doing a ton of different stuff to lower his, just all of his stuff. But when there's so many things on the screen like that, it's really hard to pay attention to Merlin's ability, right? Like to know when it's up. And like you can see now it's at 4, but could you even see that, right? Like on the video, could you even see that it's at 4? And then I hit the combo and hit her ability. Now look, it's back up to 4 right now. So I've hit Clotho's ult to switch in and do the damage. It's so hard to see now. You can see his health just disappear there. But it is really hard. Like I'm almost just literally counting when I'm doing this. I'm almost just trying to count because you can't see. I mean, look at how many debuffs he has right now. And I'm looking for one specific one. I got 4 here. You see me hit the ult, you see me switch, but it's really hard to keep up with a lot of this stuff. And I get that there are a ton of debuffs and it's hard to really make that super, I'm sure there's a way they could format it, right? But it's hard to make it to where it's like super noticeable to know exactly what you're looking for. but I do really struggle to kind of notice. I've just started counting. But again, you can see with the gameplay loop, it's literally the only thing I'm going for. And once I figured out how to do this properly, that is what allowed me to win. I think if you have a P4 Merlin, I think if you have a P5 Merlin, if you, like I said, if you're playing co-op, I think you can both get in here and do that once you figure out the loop. It's all about building the stacks. Right there, you just saw I completely whiffed it, by the way. I missed the basic attack, so when I hit my laser beam, nothing happened. Once you figure all that out, you're good to go. That's the main thing that I want to stress to you is just important is staying alive, because like I said, if you obviously, if you or your teammate die, GG's. You might as well pack it up because you're not going to be able to solo this boss. It's too much health. You've seen, I've multiple times now done the tag in perfectly. I've hit some big numbers. There's a few times in here I hit like 1 million, like it's like 500,000s, right? It's like awesome, especially for like a P5 Merlin at the time. But you're just not going to be able to do this by yourself with your teammate. By the way, obviously, like you destroy those and he does hardly any damage, especially when you have the barriers. So that is partially the fact of, like I said, the armor, where you can have, that instance was not, but you can have the Gallon's armor that will give you barriers. You'll see that in this video too, where there's times I get low or whatever, and with Clotho, you have to get hit to heal. Those barriers will allow you to just stay alive and get hit. There was a perfect one. You saw that was like 467,000, and I couldn't quite tell the other number, but that was close to 1 million. So this is the whole loop. You see me setting it up again, just nuking with Merlin to where you can switch in and do all this damage. It's just you're switching the entire time. There's 192,000, right? And that wasn't with all the stacks built up. You just got to get the tagging figured out with her properly. Once you do, you're just absolutely eating. Like, I mean, you know, we're starting to do some damage, and he's starting to pick me up and just eat me too. But you just keep these stacks on him. You try your best to pay attention to what you're looking at, because like I said, there's a lot of stuff to look at, man. But you're really trying to focus on those it's called Frostmark, I believe. As soon as you see 4, that's when you hit your ult with Merlin. That's when you then, like I said, if you are combo ulting to burst them, you have to hit the combo ult. But you hit the combo ult, then you hit her ability. That way it's building when you switch off of her, and then you can switch back in and do a ton of damage. You can see here we've done a solid amount of damage. And just in general, I think duo for this, my personal opinion, I think it's about perfect. You get a little bit of more challenge than you do in solo. Solo's the easiest. I think duo is about the perfect sweet spot. Once you start getting 3s and then 4s and 5s, I've said this in other videos. I've literally never beat it with 5 people because it scales too high, and I don't have 5 whales to play with. Basically, when I'm playing in 5s, I personally am trying to help other people. I'm not able to do that, so that's the one thing that sucks, is the scales, a little bit too much. But in general, I wanted to just show you this combat loop. You're just going to see this, obviously, this video play out. I'll add some music here. I'll just make the music a little bit louder here. I'll let this play off. You can see us clearing it. But yeah, I just really wanted to stress, don't get hit by him coming in on that like I just did. But yeah, I just really wanted to stress how important the Merlin loop is for this. If you have not figured out the loop, if you've just blindly come in here, just take this one thing away from this video. If you have blindly come in here and just tried Merlin and you're like, man, I can't quite do it because Merlin's not doing enough damage, figure this loop out right here. You're watching it in real time. Boom. Tons of damage, right? You're watching it in real time. So that's all I'm doing. At no point am I doing anything special. It's the same loop over and over, but man, it's doing some damage, right? And that's what changed it for us, specifically using Merlin. If you're coming in here with some other characters, Meliodas, you need like a super high potential, most likely, like maybe a P9. There's some other damage dealers you can use, but Merlin does obviously make this easy, and it seems that a lot of people are playing this game for Merlin and have joined this game and summoned for Merlin, so she obviously is very effective in here, and it's all based on the tag skills. Like I said, I'm going to get out here. I'll let this footage play out for you. Do me a huge favor. Like I said, we're ever so close to 900, and obviously we're fighting to get to 1,000, so if you've enjoyed any of this content, if you're still here, I appreciate that. Comment below if you're still here. What are we going to say? We're going to say Merlin is the best character in the game. Do that. Do me a favor, do that. And then, like I said, subscribe if you've enjoyed the content. I'll let this play out. We'll turn the music up, and you'll just watch me do the same loop over and over and over.
you.